grateful to all of you for coming along at quite short notice and missing a cold, wet afternoon on the seafront in Margate. But I've been checking the weather forecast, and about 4 o'clock it's going to be okay. So. This part of Britain, Thanet, has huge problems. It has problems of poverty, it has problems of unemployment, it has problems of underemployment, it has problems of low quality employment with a lot of people on 0 hours contracts not knowing what they're going to earn from one week to the next. But it also has a huge problem of the lack of regulation of the private rented sector. These people that are forced to live in these places are then blamed for the size of the welfare bill, when in reality the welfare bill is subsidising the high levels of rents in the first place.
Let me give you a report back since the last time I was here. It's been a relatively quiet life. When we lost to the Tories, to be frank, it was devastating. And then we convened a number of the left meetings together, left groups together, and there was an awful lot of pressure for us to run a candidate. So when Ed Miliband stood down, to be frank, I didn't want him to stand down. I thought he wasn't strong enough in terms of the policies that we were advocating, but I actually thought he had a good heart. But he went quickly, and I convened meetings with Jeremy of all the left groups, and there was a lot of pressure for us to run a left candidate in the elections. And so Jeremy literally sat at the end of the table, and we turned to him and said, "It's your turn." And he literally said, "Oh, go on then." Now, that's the sort of leader I want. There's lots of MPs who turn up in Parliament with an envelope, and on the back of the envelope is MP by such an age, Minister by such an age, Prime Minister by such an age. And to be frank, sometimes many of them go into Parliament with the best of intentions and want to do good, but often ambition overrides principle. What I like about Jeremy is literally we had to force him to stand. And that's the sort of leader I want, someone who's not personally ambitious, but is willing to do their duty, basically. Then, for a week, we worked to get the nominations. We needed 35. And we worked and we persuaded MPs to nominate him, and we got to, that had to be midday on the Monday when it closed the nominations. And we needed 35. By the morning, we'd got up to 28. By 11:30, midday this closed, 11:30, we were up to about 30. Then about 11:45, we were up to 33. We needed 35. And I'd done a deal, I'm into these grubby deals, I'm sorry. I'd done a deal with 5 of them that if we got to 34, they would nominate him and he would get over the line. And in the last 10 seconds, 2 of them cracked. Problem was, we then had to go and find Jeremy, who'd gone for a cup of tea, to tell him he was the candidate. We got back and we put together a campaign of volunteers, etc. And we started booking halls around the country, because we thought what we'll do is we'll go out on this stomp, advocating the policies that we think a Labour government and Labour Party needs to adopt, and we believe the country needed. And Jeremy said, "Come on, we'll go around together." And I said, "No, look, it looked like Last of Summer Wine on tour or something." The first hall we'd booked, as I said, it held about 100. 500 people turned up. It was extraordinary. So I said, "Look, all right, book a room for 500 in the next one," and 1,000 turned up. And it went on like that all around the country. And it was unbelievable, unbelievable. I've been in this campaigning like this for the last 40 years, all through the miners' strike, the 80s and all the rest of it. Never seen anything like it. And I think what happened is that people were despondent after Labour lost the election, but actually what people wanted was hope. They wanted some hope. They wanted some light at the end of the tunnel. But they also, at those meetings, they weren't just people getting up and speaking from the platform, they were genuine discursive meetings. People want to come along and express their views about what was happening in their lives and the policies and changes that they wanted to see. And when they heard Jeremy speak, they put a lot of hope in this one person who was just being honest and straight with them and was willing to engage in that discussion.